Today we are starting Farm Simulator 19 in the Farm Manager mode on the Ravenport map. So when you first start, you're given $1.25 million and a small introduction that says you have enough money to start the farming business of your dreams. What will your specialty be? Arable farming, breeding livestock, forestry, or a bit of everything? The choice is yours. First, buy some land, buildings, and the necessary tools. Then sell your products and expand your farm. So we see down here on the map that we have spawned next to field 26, 25, 24, and 19. We can see them out over the distance over here. So what we're going to need to do first is we're going to need to buy some land. So we come to our map menu, we go to lands, and we see the different plots of land that are for sale down here. Well, these three fields all come in the same plot of land for $362,000, so that's about $120,000 a field. Field 19 and its forest is $210,000. Field 23 is $202,000. So these three fields are going to be our best option to start the game with. So we're going to go ahead and buy them. So now we need to see what is growing in our fields. Field 26 is growing sunflowers, field 25 is growing canola, and field 24 is growing cotton. So to check their growth stages, we come over here. Field 26 and 24 are ready to be harvested, but those crops require specialized equipment to harvest, so we're not going to be able to do that off at the beginning of the game. Field 25 is canola, which we will be able to harvest with a standard harvester, but it is still growing. So next we check our soil composition. Field 26 doesn't need anything in particular. Field 25 is fertilized and field 24 needs to be plowed. So now we know that we are going to need a plow. So we come back, we look over our plot of land. It's a nice little plot of land we got going on here. We got a couple trees. It's got a nice waterfall in the background. That's nice. Just nice little open area in between our three fields. So it said buy some land and then it said buy some buildings and equipment. So let's go check out buildings. So we have a farmhouse. A farmhouse costs $350,000. Well, the only thing you can do with the farmhouse is speed time overnight. Now, it speeds time very quickly as opposed to us speeding time in game, but for $350,000, we're going to have to pass on a farmhouse for right now. You could also buy a silo. A small grain silo is $110,000 and a large grain silo is $180,000. Well, we don't need a silo off the beginning because we're going to be selling every bit of harvest that we can come up with. So no need for a silo. You also have vehicle sheds. We could use one of those, but for right now, we're just not going to buy any buildings. We're just going to buy our equipment that we need to farm our ground. So let's go to our equipment page. So we know we're going to need a plow, so let's look at plows. You have this small plow here for $13,000, this one for $14,000. This one is 2.5 meters wide, requires 180 horsepower to be pulled, whereas this one only requires 85 horsepower, but it is only 2 meters wide. But instead of a plow, you can use a subsoiler. Now this subsoiler here is 3 meters wide and it's only $7,000. This 4 meter wide one is $9,500, so they are cheaper than plows. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy this 4 meter subsoiler. So now we're able to plow the field that has to be plowed. So we're also going to need a seeder, a way to fertilize, a weeder, a trailer, and a header for our harvester. So let's look at fertilizing options. So we have manure spreaders. This one's $27,500. It can spread 9 meters. It can hold 10,500 liters and requires 64 horsepower to be pulled. We look at slurry tanks, $23,000, 85 horsepower requirement, 9 meters spread distance, and it can move down the field at 10 miles per hour. We look at Fertilizer Technology. We have this fertilizer here. It can hold 3,200 liters. It can actually spread 24 meters, and it holds just fertilizer. If we check the one next to it, it's $39,000, but it can hold 14,000 liters. It's got a 12-meter width, and it can actually hold lime as well as fertilizer. Well, we're going to have to spread lime on some of our fields. Every 3 harvests, you're going to have to put down lime. So it's a good idea to go ahead and have a piece of equipment that can spread lime. So since this one can spread fertilizer and lime, this seems like a good option to go with. Now you can add extensions to it to make it hold more capacity. So with none, you have 9,000. With a small one, you have 11,000. And with a big one, you have 14,000. $750 for the big one. I say we go ahead and buy a big expansion. So you can also get upgraded spreading discs to a 6-meter spreading unit. Well, our fields aren't really big enough to use that, and it's $8,000, so we're not going to buy that. So we're going to buy this fertilizer spreader with the big extension for $39,750. So now we have our fertilizer and we have our subsoiler. So now we're going to need a weeder. This little weeder here, it has a 9-meter diameter and it requires 80 horsepower to be pulled. It can go down the field at 7 miles per hour. This seems like a good weeder for us. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy this weeder. So now we have a weeder, a fertilizer, and a subsoiler. We're also going to need a seeder. So if we look at seeders, this small one here requires 85 horsepower, can hold 1,000 liters of seed, and can plant our standard crops. It moves down the field at 9 miles per hour, and it says with the seeder planter you can sow fields. If we check the one next to it, it requires 110 horsepower, can hold 2,800 liters of seeds, can sow the same crops. It's 3 meters wide, but this one says additionally this machine offers the possibility to seed directly, no previous cultivating or plowing necessary. Well, that seems like a pretty good option because now we don't have to buy a cultivator. But this thing is only 3 meters wide, so let's check and see if we can find a bigger one. For $76,000, we can get one with a 6-meter diameter. It holds 3,100 liters of seeds, and it requires 180 horsepower to be pulled. Well, this is going to be able to sow our ground faster than the 3-meter one, obviously twice as fast. So I like this seeder, so we're going to go with this seeder right here. So now we have no use for a cultivator. We have a seeder, we have a fertilizer, and we have a weeder. So now we're going to need a trailer. So if we check on trailers, we have this small trailer here that can hold 12,000 liters. This next trailer can hold 21,000 liters. This trailer can hold 31,000, and this trailer can hold 39,000. Well, since we do not have a silo, we're going to need a trailer that could hold a couple of harvests in it in case our market value isn't good enough when we get done harvesting our fields. So if we were to go with a smaller trailer, we're only going to be able to hold one harvest in it. But if we get a larger trailer, we can probably fit a couple harvests in it so that we don't have to sell it immediately after harvesting it. So this trailer here for $35,000 looks like a good option. You can get upgraded tires on it, but that's $1,700. We're not going to spend the money on that. We're going to get it the way that it comes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy this trailer. So now let's check our garage. We have a trailer, we have a subsoiler, we have a seeder, we have a fertilizer, and we have a weeder. So that is all the equipment that we are going to need from this page. We're going to need our header, but we need to go look at harvesters. So we have this small harvester here for $84,000. It can hold 3,540 grain in its grain tank. It's got 100 horsepower and it fits the Z056H header. We look at the one next to it. It can hold 5,600 liters. It costs $100,000. Then for $105,000, we can hold 4,500 liters. And for $202,000, we can hold 8,600 liters. Well, this one fits the free flow, and this one fits the PS500. So now we need to go back, and we need to look at our headers. This Z056H, this fits on our first harvester that we looked at, the $84,000 one. This fits on the second harvester. PS500, this fits on our third harvester. Here is the free flow 25 foot. That fits on the $202,000 harvester. And here's a John Deere 625X. Now these are both 7.6 meters wide. So we need a harvester that could hold one of these headers. Now we do have larger headers, but they are going to require a lot more of an expensive harvester to be able to hold these headers. So one of these 7.6 meter ones is going to be our best option. So we come back to harvesters. We know this one can hold the free flow 25 foot. And here's the John Deere that can hold the 625X. Well, both of these headers were the same price. Now this harvester can hold 10,000 liters and this one only holds 8,600. But we're not going to pay $83,000 more for the name John Deere. We're going to go with this Massey Ferguson. So we're going to buy this harvester. Like everything else, you can put different tires on it. We're not going to spend the money on that. We're going to get it the way that it comes. So we're going to buy this harvester. So now we're going to go back. We're going to go to our header. The free flow 25 foot. That's the one we decided to go with. So now we're going to buy this header. So now if we check our garage, we have our harvester, we have our header, we have our trailer, we have a subsoiler, we have a seeder, a fertilizer, and a weeder. So now we're going to need a tractor. We have $457,000 left. So let's find a tractor that's going to work for us. We do remember that our seeder requires 180 horsepower to be pulled. So if we check on this first tractor, it has 170 horsepower. Our second tractor has 125. Our third tractor has 145. But let's check something. This tractor here, we can actually put an upgraded motor in. For $22,000, we can get 214 horsepower. Well, that will pull our seeder, and that makes this tractor $120,000. That's not a bad price for a tractor with 214 horsepower. Now it can go 24 miles per hour. There are other tractors that can move faster. Like this one can go 31, but this one, if you check its engine requirements, its upgrades, 175 horsepower is the most you can get out of this tractor. So this tractor is going to be probably our best option. We can go check some other tractors. We have this John Deere. Let's see about its motor. We can't get enough horsepower out of that one. And now we're getting into a very high price range. So we're going to go back to this first tractor. We're going to upgrade the motor, 214 horsepower. Now you can upgrade it even more, 255 horsepower, 261. But we're going to go with our 214 because that's all we need to pull our seeder. For $120,000, this is going to be our tractor. Now you can change the tires on this one and it doesn't cost any more money. It has multiple wheel setups. We're not going to go through all of them, but we're going to change the tires since it doesn't cost us any more money. So we're going to buy this tractor. So now we have bought every piece of equipment that we should need. We have a tractor, we have a harvester, we have a trailer, a header, subsoiler, seeder, fertilizer, and weeder. Now, we are going to need to fill up our fertilizer and we're going to need to fill up our seeder. So if we go back to our seeder, we can see that it holds 3,100 units, 3,100 liters of seeds. So a big bag contains 1,000, so we're going to need 3 big bags to fill this seeder up. Now our fertilizer, remember we got the extended version, so we can actually hold 14,000 liters of fertilizer. Well, we're not going to buy that much to begin with. We're not going to fill it all the way up. So we need to come to big bags. We need to buy our seeds. So we're going to buy 3 of these. And then we need to buy fertilizer. So instead of buying 14 of them, we're going to buy 5 or 6 of them. So 6 of them. So now we own everything that we should need to start farming our fields. Now we actually have $325,000 left. So, since we didn't buy a farmhouse and we didn't buy silos and we didn't buy a vehicle shed, we probably could afford a vehicle shed now, but let's look at field 19. Field 19 is right here very close to our other fields. So it's $210,000. We have $325,000, so we will still have $100,000 left if we buy this field. I say that we should buy this field because the more fields we have, the more grain we can harvest and the more money we can make. So we're going to buy this field. So now we also own field 19. What we do need to check on, it's still growing, it is growing potatoes, and it actually needs lime. So we're going to have to buy some lime to go along with the fertilizer that we bought. So back to the store, back to our big bags, and over to lime. Now, we go through lime pretty quickly, so we're going to need to buy probably 5 or 6 bags of lime. So what we're going to need to do first is we're going to need to fill our fertilizer up with our lime before we fill it with our fertilizer. So we have $112,000 left, so let's go ahead and buy ourselves a vehicle shelter. For $22,000 we can get this one, for $9,000 we can get this one, and for $32,000 we can get this one. Let's just spend the $9,000 and get this vehicle shed here. I'm going to put it over here next to this tree. I'm going to line it up next to this field and make sure it's straight. Looks straight to me. So we're going to put our vehicle shelter right here in the middle, out of the way. Maybe one day we can put a farmhouse right here and a silo somewhere else. But right now we're more concerned with being able to produce a big enough harvest that we can make the money to buy all the things that we weren't able to afford in the beginning. So now instead of running all the way to the store, what we can do is press our vehicles tab. Now that's going to take us directly into our vehicles. So here's our harvester, here's our tractor. So let's take our harvester and attach our header to it. Get up center with it, and there we go. Our header is now attached to our harvester. Let's drive it over here out of the way. So now let's train back to our tractor. So we have a lot of big bags that we need to put into our seeders and to our fertilizer. So remember, first we need to go with our lime. So let's come over here, let's grab our seeder. And let's go fill it up with seeds. See our seed bags sitting right over here. We're going to pull up next to them. And we're going to be able to fill up our seeder. You can see it going up in the bottom right hand corner. So now we have 3,000 liters of seed in our seeder. So now we are going to have to carry all of this equipment back to our farm. Well, really our fields. We don't quite have a farm yet. So let's go and let's fill our fertilizer up with the lime. See, our lime bags are sitting right here in front of us. We're going to open our cover, see if we can get close enough to them. So now we are filling up with our lime. It takes a minute to get these things full. Continue filling. You can see it filling up inside of the fertilizer. It's the white stuff coming up. So now we got to get close enough to our other bags. We're continuing to fill up with our lime. Looks like we have 3 bags left. And 1 last bag of lime. So we actually are going to have 10,000 units of lime. Each big bag of lime is actually 2,000 instead of 1,000. So let's close our cover. So there's our fertilizer that we're going to have to come pick up once we get done liming our field. So now we have all the equipment. It is all full. So now we're going to need to carry it all back to our fields.